Welcome to the channel, where mysteries of coins turn into million-dollar tales and the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary. Have you ever imagined that a coin worth just 1 cent, something you probably wouldn't even bother to pick up from the sidewalk, could be hiding a secret that could change your life forever? What if I told you that the 2000 D Lincoln 1-cent coin, struck in Denver and seemingly like millions of others, might just be worth not pennies but a jaw-dropping $12 million due to a combination of extreme rarity, bizarre minting anomalies, unintentional errors, collector mania, and hidden historical significance that very few are aware of? But now, you're about to discover everything about it, and you might just become one of the lucky few who stumbles upon this modern-day treasure in their most unexpected way, tucked in a jar of forgotten change or buried deep within an old drawer. A family heirloom you never knew held such immense value, and as you listen to this story unravel, you might want to check every single penny you own, because the clues to unimaginable fortune could be right in your hands without you even realizing it. So let's dive headfirst into the unbelievable saga of the 2000 D 1-cent coin and discover how a small copper-plated zinc disc from the turn of the millennium grew to earn the title of one of the most coveted and financially astonishing coins in numismatic history, beginning with the unexpected conditions of the Denver Mint in the year 2000, a year that was filled with transitional adjustments in equipment and composition standards, subtle shifts that, while unnoticed by most, laid the perfect groundwork for minting anomalies of the rarest kind. And as history has shown us, some of the most valuable coins in circulation today are not those struck with perfection, but those born from imperfection, accidents, misalignments, double strikes, off-metal planchets, broad strikes, clipped planches, and more. And the 2000 D 1-cent is rumored to be a combination of several of these features all fused into one near-mythical era coin that few have seen in person but that has sent shockwaves across auctions and private sales alike, with whispers of a $12 million sale whispered behind closed doors among elite collectors. But what exactly makes this coin so outrageously valuable, and how could something so minute cause such a financial earthquake in the world of collectibles? The answer lies in the very fabric of the coin's creation, beginning with its unique double-die obverse that shows unmistakable doubling on the year 2000 as well as on Lincoln's profile, an era typically reserved for more distant decades yet somehow emerging again at the dawn of the new millennium in a freak convergence of tooling mishaps and human oversight. But that's only the beginning, because another known specimen exhibits a dramatic off-center strike combined with a rotated die collar, creating a warped rim and a stretched visage of Lincoln that makes the coin appear surreal, almost ghostly in form, an era so bizarre it has been described as an artistic accident rather than a mint mistake. And as if that weren't enough, rumors circulate about a handful of 2000 D cents struck on experimental planches, blanks that were not intended for the penny at all but instead for foreign currency tests, possibly made of aluminum, bronze, or even experimental steel, giving these coins an alien appearance under magnification and a weight deviation that makes them easily identifiable for those with a keen numismatic sense. And when one of these surfaced at a private estate sale in Colorado, the bidding war escalated into the millions in a matter of minutes, ultimately resulting in a clandestine $12 million deal between anonymous bidders, something that has only fanned the flames of this coin's mystique, driving amateur and veteran collectors alike into a frenzy to search their holdings, metal detect parks, flea markets, estate sales, and antique shops in hopes of unearthing their own golden ticket disguised as a penny. But beyond the technical mint errors and the composition oddities, the 2000 D 1-cent has developed a story of its own, a story that stretches far beyond minting machines and engraver desks, because in one particularly gripping tale, a retired postal worker in Arizona discovered a strange-looking penny while counting loose change in his recliner. A coin he described as feeling lighter and looking shinier than it should, and that very coin turned out to be one of the suspected experimental planchette errors, later appraised at a staggering 8 figures due to its combination of off-metal composition, double strike, and weak rim pressure, instantly changing the man's life and transforming a coin jar into a vault of dreams. And this isn't a one-off miracle either, because similar stories have emerged from Pennsylvania, Texas, Montana, and even overseas in Canada, where an American tourist discovered one in a collection of loose change kept in a travel pouch for over 20 years, with each instance igniting new discussions and debates among experts, theorists, and skeptics alike about how many of these coins might exist, whether the mintage was accidental or part of a deeper test program, and whether the US Mint is fully aware of the circulation of such coins or quietly monitoring the situation behind the scenes. And the deeper you dig, the more you find, such as an obscure memo discovered in the National Archives referring to a Class 3 test production of zinc hybrid blanks for cent usage, Denver Division, Q1 anomaly pending review, a document that has sent shockwaves through Reddit forums and numismatic think tanks, because if true, it suggests the 2000 D1 cent was not just a mistake but the byproduct of an officially sanctioned experiment that went unrecorded in public-facing documents, meaning that these era coins aren't just minting floors, they are artifacts of secret US currency history, adding layers of intrigue and collectability that can't be manufactured or faked, and it's this tangled web of truth, myth, and raw financial potential that makes the 2000 D1 cent so much more than pocket change, elevating it into the realm of high-stakes collecting, where millionaires fight behind closed doors over possession of what appears to be nothing more than a common coin, but in reality represents one of the rarest, most compelling, and most valuable coin types known to exist. And while most people walk by pennies without a second thought, those who know, those who understand what to look for, the misplaced mint mark, the unusual weight, the wrong coloration, the doubled year, the warped portrait, the faint rim, the bizarre metal resonance, those people might just be on the brink of their own $12 million payday, and it all begins with taking a closer look at your change. Flipping each penny over like a detective unraveling a decades-old mystery, because the clues are there if you know where to look, and history has shown us again and again that fortune favors not just the bold but the observant, the curious, the ones who ask questions like, what if this isn't just a penny, and follow their instincts all their way to a discovery that defies logic and financial precedent. And perhaps you're holding such a coin right now without realizing it, perhaps tucked away in an old piggy bank or wedged in the seat of your car or lying forgotten at the bottom of a backpack, and all it takes is one discovery, one moment of awareness, to turn that 1 cent into $12 million. And as the story of the 2000 D1 cent continues to unfold in whispers and headlines, auctions and museum displays, private negotiations and online forums, one thing becomes increasingly clear: this isn't just about money, it's about history, legacy, mystery, and the idea that the world still holds secrets hiding in plain sight. And as long as coins are minted, mistakes will happen, legends will form, and everyday people will find themselves at the center of stories that sound too incredible to be true, until they are. And now the question becomes, could you be next? Next, what if I told you that buried deep inside a pocket change jar, under piles of seemingly worthless copper pennies, lies a single coin minted in 2002 at the Denver Mint, a humble 1 cent piece that defies logic, defies value charts, defies expectations, and somehow skyrocketed into the numismatic stratosphere to command a staggering price tag of $10 million, not because it contains gold or diamonds or is encrusted with anything exotic, but because of errors, yes, bizarre, microscopic, sometimes invisible to the naked eye minting errors, and an irresistible historical mystery embedded within its copper-plated zinc body, now a legend among collectors, a dream for treasure hunters, a haunting whisper that echoes in the minds of every person who's ever dumped a handful of coins into a Coinstar wondering, could I be holding something rare? Welcome to the channel, and buckle up, because today we dive headfirst into the remarkable, spellbinding, almost unbelievable story of the 2002 D. Lincoln Memorial Cent that changed everything, a single penny that became a fortune, that triggered nationwide searches, late night digging through laundry machines, dusty floorboard investigations, family heirloom re-evaluations, and coin community frenzy. And it's not just one era or one type of rarity that did it, but a perfect storm, a confluence of minting disaster, governmental oversight, die-clash chaos, and production anomalies that combined to form one of the most talked about modern coin eras in US mint history, because unlike older coins which naturally degrade or vanish with time, this 2002 D penny was young, recent, but cloaked in secrets. Secrets like the infamous double-die obverse that caused Abraham Lincoln's face to warp ever so subtly under magnification, giving him a distorted jawline and ghost-like cheekbone, or the astonishing wide AM reverse that shouldn't exist in a Denver minted coin from that year, as wide AM varieties were mostly reserved for proof coins minted in San Francisco, but somehow this penny slipped through, defying mint protocol, causing conspiracy theories about rogue dies being used or mixed shipments between mints. And then there's the off-center strikes, some appearing as much as 15% off, leaving parts of the date or even Lincoln's profile disappearing into the void of the coin's rim, creating value spikes beyond imagination for collectors who crave these misfits. And as if that wasn't enough, rumors persist of a mule era, an almost impossible mistake where a cent was accidentally struck with a dime reverse, though none have surfaced publicly. The mere whisper of such a possibility keeps collectors on the hunt, but what really sends this 2002 D into the $10 million stratosphere is the legend of the copper planchette era, a rare instance where the penny was mistakenly struck on a leftover 95% copper planchette intended for older coins, before the switch to copper-plated zinc in 1982, a mistake so rare and hard to authenticate that only one confirmed specimen is believed to exist, and that coin, the $10 million legend, was allegedly discovered at a flea market in Oklahoma by a retired machinist who initially kept it in a coffee tin for years, thinking nothing of it, until he noticed its unusual weight and color and had it tested by a local pawn shop, where the results shocked everyone and set off a chain of events involving private appraisers, secret auctions, and ultimately, a private collector in Dubai who reportedly acquired the coin for an 8-figure sum. And whether that tale is truth or embellished myth, it fuels the flames of obsession that drive collectors into basements and estate sales, checking every last 2002 D penny under microscopes and scales, searching for signs of the needle in the haystack. And we can't ignore the role of die deterioration in these coins. Many 2002 DS exhibit extreme die wear that causes bizarre textures on Lincoln's face, ghosting around the date, and even letters that appear to be melting into the fields, all signs of heavy use and poor quality control, especially toward the end of a die's life. And while most die deterioration doesn't increase value, certain extreme examples have drawn attention for their aesthetics and freak appeal. And then there's the repunched mint mark anomalies, where their D was struck more than once in slightly different positions, a phenomenon common in older coins but increasingly rare in post-1990s issues, making the few found in 2002 D coins stand out as desirable collectibles, especially when combined with other errors and stacking errors, where more than one anomaly appears in a single coin, like a double die obverse asterisk and asterisk a wide AM reverse asterisk and asterisk a repunched mint mark, are the holy grail, potentially unique. And in the case of this infamous coin, it's believed all of these occurred in one nightmarishly miraculous strike, giving birth to a multi-era monster of value, a Frankenstein penny if you will, whose very existence challenges our understanding of how such mistakes could have made it past inspection. But therein lies the mystique, for insiders claim the early 2000s were riddled with equipment transition, policy inconsistencies, and staff shortages at the Denver Mint, leading to a spike in overlooked errors, many of which were later recalled or destroyed, making survivors even rarer. And then we dive into the collector psychology, how scarcity combined with narrative can skyrocket a coin's price, especially when there's only one known example, authenticated by third-party graders with supporting metallurgical reports, and a colorful backstory involving anonymity, accidental discovery, and whispers of government attempts to buy back the coin quietly, fearing public embarrassment over the minting mishap. And we must explore the economics of modern numismatics, where social media virality and YouTube videos like this one have fueled price inflation as more people become aware of ultra-rare coins, creating demand spikes and bidding wars, as seen in private auctions where this 2002 D specimen changed hands in secret, with rumors of billionaire tech investors getting involved purely for bragging rights, much like rare art. And speaking of art, the coin's aesthetic errors have also been compared to unintentional masterpieces, die cracks that look like lightning bolts across Lincoln's face, or reverse plating bubbles that form eye-like shapes near the memorial columns, all adding to its visual allure. And let's not forget that this penny also exists in a micro-universe of counterfeits and fakes, where dishonest sellers attempt to replicate its features. But true experts know the difference thanks to high-resolution scans and spectral analysis, making the original even more valuable by contrast. And as demand grows and myths swirl, the coin's origin becomes folklore, told around coin club meetings and numismatic forums like a ghost story that might be true, urging everyday people to re-examine their change, reawaken old albums, and test that stack of 2002 DS they've ignored for decades. And what's even more fascinating is the psychological ripple effect this story has had on non-collectors, sparking new hobbies, bringing families together on penny hunts, even inspiring children to start their own collections, dreaming of finding the next $1 million coin. And this story isn't just about metal, it's about hope, chance, and the idea that something forgotten, overlooked, or tossed aside can hold unimaginable value, that the ordinary can become extraordinary under the right conditions, that the tiniest crack, the faintest doubling, or the rarest alloy can rewrite history and fortune. And so we circle back to the question: how many of these 2002 D oddities are out there, lying in drawers, passed unknowingly from hand to hand, and will another ever surface, perhaps from a vending machine, or a child's piggy bank, or hidden inside an abandoned safe deposit box? Or will this remain a one-of-a-kind marvel, a singular spark in U.S. mint history that teaches us the importance of details, the thrill of discovery, and the wealth hiding in plain sight? And as you finish watching this, maybe you'll dig a little deeper in your own pocket, flip over that penny. Before you spend it, weigh it, measure it, magnify it, and who knows, maybe you'll be the next person holding $10 million in your fingertips, in the form of a 1-cent coin from 2002 with a D mint mark and a whole lot of mystery. Next, what if the ordinary-looking 2001 D Lincoln cent sitting at the bottom of your coin jar was not just another 1-cent piece meant for vending machines, gas station counters, or being lost between couch cushions, but a jaw-dropping, pulse-pounding, $15 million masterpiece of minting mayhem, a treasure hidden in plain sight, a copper-plated zinc anomaly that defies probability and shatters every expectation you've ever had about modern pocket change? Because what if I told you that one misaligned stroke of a die, one misfed blank planchette, one unexpected alloy composition, or a misplaced mint mark could turn a coin printed by the billions into a one-of-a-kind collector's dream that auction houses fight over, private collectors drool over, and the US Mint quietly regrets? And this isn't folklore or urban legend but an unfolding reality in the numismatic world, because this is the staggering story of the 2001 D penny that became the most expensive modern-era cent to ever exist. Not because of any ceremonial minting or commemorative special edition, but because of a perfect and chilling collision of minting errors, metallurgical confusion, production chaos, and historical significance all rolled into one little round copper face of Abraham Lincoln. And yes, this coin has been authenticated, examined, marveled at by top-tier graders and numismatic experts who confirm the existence of features so rare, so contradictory, so unlikely, that its very presence in The world ignited a frenzy of coin roll hunts, auction records, legal debates, private trades, and even secretive overseas negotiations as global collectors sought to outbid each other in one of the most mind-bending modern treasure hunts in American history. And let's begin with the sheer anomaly of how such a coin could exist in the first place, because 2001 cents were supposed to be standard. Just copper-plated zinc coins mass-produced in Denver by the hundreds of millions, nothing fancy. Nothing new, nothing experimental, but buried within that massive sea of monotony, a crack appeared in the production line, quite literally, where an aging die began to fragment under pressure and strike coins with ghostly doubling on the obverse side. Lincoln's eye strangely duplicated, the date slightly shifted, the mint mark looking like a phantom shadow behind it, and this is no ordinary double die like we see in some known varieties. This was extreme, chaotic, unintentional doubling caused by violent die deterioration, misalignment, and improper maintenance that had numismatists scratching their heads and asking how something this distorted ever escaped into circulation. And then came the metallurgical mystery, because this wasn't just any 2001 penny, it was struck, somehow, on a planchette with an unusual metallic composition, not the expected copper-plated zinc, but an older 95% copper core used prior to 1982, indicating that a robe blank planchette, possibly a leftover from decades past, had somehow re-entered the system or had been mixed in error during equipment maintenance, and their weight difference, when discovered, was immediately noticeable to those few lucky enough to examine it, measuring just over 3.1 grams rather than the standard 2.5, leading to extensive lab analysis and confirmation that this wasn't just a misstrike, it was a time traveler of sorts, born in the wrong era but struck with modern dies. And as more eyes fell on this mystery coin, more errors came into focus, like die cracks zigzagging across Lincoln's shoulder like lightning bolts, plating bubbles creating blistered distortions on the reverse, and perhaps most stunning of all, a misaligned reverse die that caused the Lincoln Memorial to tilt ominously toward one side, giving the illusion of a collapsing monument, a poetic symbol for the minting process that birthed this chaotic marvel. And if that wasn't enough, numismatists identified what appeared to be an ultra-rare wide AM variety on the reverse, a trait only seen in a few select years and typically associated with proof strikes, not Denver circulation coins, and yet, here it was, undeniable under magnification, the space between the A and M in America clearly wide, the serif styling distinct, sending collectors into a frenzy and breaking every known record for 2001 cent varieties. And then came the story, the kind of story that transcends value and creates legends, because this coin wasn't found in some upscale coin auction or handed down by a savvy collector. It was discovered in a completely average way, by a teenager in Texas who received it in change at a school vending machine, tossed it into his backpack, and forgot about it until he began collecting Lincoln cents for a school project, only to stumble across this bizarre penny that didn't look quite right, weighed more than usual, and had an unusual texture under his magnifying glass. And when he brought it to a local coin dealer, expecting a casual few dollars value, the room fell silent, and from there, the legend was born. The coin passed hands privately, authenticated, slabbed, tested again, and finally sold, through an anonymous broker, for a breathtaking $15 million to a billionaire collector in Hong Kong who claimed it would never be sold again and would remain locked in a temperature-controlled vault beside his collection of rare Chinese cash coins and early American silver dollars. And ever since that story leaked into the public sphere, the numismatic community has never been the same, because this wasn't just a discovery, it was a disruption, a revelation that modern pennies, even ones minted just over 2 decades ago, could hold secrets worth more than Ferraris, mansions, or priceless paintings. And since then, the hunt has never stopped, with 2001 rolls being bought and unwrapped at unprecedented levels, coin shows suddenly overrun with Lincoln cent specialists, grading Companies swamped with submissions of potentially valuable 2001 D coins, many of which contained minor or partial versions of the same era types, some with copper planches, others with die cracks, a few with misaligned strikes or ghostly doubling, but none, not one, have yet matched the astonishing combination of floors, metal composition, and mystique as the one legendary coin that started it all. And what's more, experts now speculate that up to 4 more of these coins could exist, possibly struck in the same faulty batch, and maybe hiding undiscovered in junk drawers, old wallets, coin albums, or forgotten boxes in attics across the United States, just waiting to be recognized for what they are, modern miracles of minting madness worth millions. And while the original find has changed lives, sparked documentaries, and even led to a short-lived reality series about rare coin hunting, it's the mere possibility of finding another that keeps people searching, because who wouldn't want to be the next person to discover a $15 million penny, especially when all it takes is attention, curiosity, and a willingness to look closer at something most people ignore, because at the end of the day, this story isn't just about a coin, it's about how accidents can become artifacts, how flaws can become fortunes, and how the rarest treasures are often hiding in the most mundane places. So check your change, dig through that dusty jar on the shelf, pull out your old penny folders and weigh your 2001 DS carefully, examine them for double dies, off-center strikes, widems, unusual weight, blistering bubbles, split plating, and anything else that seems off, because you never know when lightning will strike again and whether you'll be the next ordinary person to become a millionaire overnight from a coin worth just 1 cent to most of the world but 15 million to those who know its story, its science, its scandal, and its spectacular value. Next, have you ever held a 2006 Lincoln penny and tossed it aside, thinking it's just another worthless cent in a sea of copper-colored coins, a disposable piece of modern currency with no story, no legacy, and certainly no value beyond its face, only to later hear that someone found one just like it, struck in that same year, bearing the same iconic image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, and sold it for a jaw-dropping, reality-defying, world-shattering price of $9 million, and then suddenly, every mundane moment you overlooked that coin flashes through your mind like a missed opportunity, like a ghost of forgotten fortune haunting your memory, because how could something so common hold a secret so rare, so unimaginable, and so potentially life-changing that it makes even billionaires blink twice and seasoned collectors scramble to investigate? And what could possibly turn a humble, everyday 2006 1-cent coin into a symbol of numismatic perfection through imperfection, a golden ticket hidden in plain sight, a once-in-a-generation anomaly wrapped in copper-plated zinc and mystery? Welcome to the channel where stories like this don't just entertain, they ignite obsessions, they drive people into their attics, coin jars, old sock drawers, and heirloom collections, desperately hoping to stumble across the impossible, because this isn't just a story about metal or mistakes, it's a modern legend grounded in hard science. Unexplained errors, miraculous coincidences, and the sheer statistical improbability of 1 cent out of billions becoming a cultural phenomenon and a financial giant. So today we unravel the staggering saga of the 2006 Lincoln penny that fetched an unprecedented $9 million at a private auction, not because it was encased in diamonds or forged from rare alloys intentionally, but because of a perfect storm of minting errors so layered, so mystifying, and so historically relevant that it instantly became the most talked about coin of its era. And to understand how such a thing could happen, we must start at the source, at the United States Mint, which in 2006 was operating with high-speed presses capable of churning out hundreds of coins per minute, relying on complex machinery that demands perfect alignment, perfect materials, and perfect conditions. Yet amid this mechanical ballet of perfection, one coin slipped through the cracks. No, not just slipped, it danced through them. It capitalized on them. It became a canvas of catastrophe that would later be revered as a numismatic Mona Lisa, A coin so profoundly flawed and yet so eerily precise in how those flaws interacted that even the most cynical coin graders were stunned into silence, because this penny wasn't just off-center, it was dramatically off-center by over 35%, causing part of Lincoln's face and the word "liberty" to vanish into the rim, creating a crescent moon-shaped gap that collectors dream of. And if that were the only error, it might be worth a few $100, maybe $1,000, but it didn't stop there, because the planchette on which this coin was struck was confirmed, through laboratory metallurgical analysis, to be a leftover bronze composition from pre-1982 days, which should have been impossible given that the U.S. Mint officially stopped using 95% copper planchets over 2 decades earlier, making this find not just rare, but chronologically confusing, as if a ghost from the past haunted the present-day minting process. And then came the doubling, a violent double die on the obverse where Lincoln's eye appeared to have a second, shadowed version floating above it, his bowtie split at the base, and the date, 2006, eerily reflected, with the 0 and 6 exhibiting doubling clear enough to be seen with the naked eye. A type of error that instantly electrifies collectors because it proves something malfunctioned at the die level, where all coins struck during that time may share some fraction of the same flawed DNA, and this coin also bore a rare reverse anomaly known as a die clash, where remnants of Lincoln's bust appeared faintly, ghost-like, on the reverse side, a haunting echo of the obverse appearing through the Lincoln Memorial itself, which only happens when the two dies strike each other without a planchette between them, transferring an unintended image that turns the coin into a numismatic puzzle begging to be solved. And if that wasn't enough to crown it as an ultimate rarity, under intense microscopic scrutiny, a set of 5 distinct die cracks were found crisscrossing both sides of the coin like fractures in glass, with one particularly prominent crack extending from the rim through Lincoln's forehead, giving the eerie appearance of a scar or battle wound, all of which created a perfect narrative storm of error upon error upon error, making this coin not just rare, but conceptually unique. What experts now call a compound error phenomenon that combines multiple mistake types never before seen together on a single 2006 penny, and the story of its discovery is equally miraculous, because this wasn't found by a millionaire collector, nor a high-profile dealer, but by an elderly widower in Nebraska who had spent his entire life collecting coins casually, mostly as a way to honor his late wife who had started a penny album decades earlier. And in 2017, while sorting through his late wife's untouched coin jar, he spotted a coin that looked off, slightly heavier, slightly more golden in tone, and placed it aside, unaware that what he had just found was about to change his life forever. And after a year of letting it sit in a display box on his mantle, a visiting nephew who had dabbled in coin collecting recognized the oddities, submitted it to PCGS for grading, and nearly passed out when the coin returned as MS-67 with confirmation of 5 simultaneous mint errors including a rare wrong planchette strike, a dramatic off-center misalignment, and the telltale doubling that would soon make headlines in numismatic publications. And within weeks, offers poured in from around the globe, Japan, Saudi Arabia, Canada, Switzerland, all bidding higher and higher until a shadowy private buyer from Monaco closed the deal with an offer of $9 million plus future royalties should the coin ever be displayed publicly. And since then, this penny has become the holy grail of modern-era coins, a symbol of the incredible and unpredictable value of mistakes, of the beauty that can emerge from imperfection, and collectors now scour every 2006 penny with renewed intensity, especially those bearing at no mint mark, anomaly or exhibiting unusually deep die polish lines, because rumors suggest that more of these flawed coins may have been created during a brief 48-hour period when a miscalibrated machine went unreported, producing up to 10 more known cousins to the $9 million cent, though none yet discovered. Combine all the same errors in one package, which makes this coin uniquely valuable, a literal once-in-history minting miracle that stands at the intersection of human error, machine failure, historical anomaly, and numismatic artistry, And now the legend grows as more people enter the hobby, inspired not by silver or gold but by the promise that even a penny, a coin most people ignore, can hold stories, secrets, and fortunes, and that's the heart of this tale, not just the money but the magic. The idea that one slip-up in a minting process can rewrite someone's destiny, that mistakes can become masterpieces, that your next $1 million find might be sitting in your car cup holder, or jingling quietly in your pocket, so never underestimate the power of a penny, especially a 2006 one, because history has shown that what looks ordinary may actually be priceless, and the next great discovery might be one breath away, one glance away, 1 second of curiosity away from turning your world upside down, and that is why you should never dismiss change again, never spend without looking, never toss a coin aside without asking what it might be trying to tell you, because the $9 million 2006 penny has already proven that value isn't always obvious, and that treasures still exist in the places we least expect.